second live streaming session of the UGC NET JRF coaching. We began our live streaming sessions of the coaching of NET and JRF yesterday. So those who joined today, please go to the previous lectures live streaming session of almost 1 hour. In that lecture yesterday, I spoke to all of you about the very structure of the NET JRF examination. I said about the way the examination is conducted and the different papers of the examination. Then, of course, the very units that come in all the papers, paper 1 and paper 2, and the marks, the total, then how we should prepare, all that I spoke yesterday. So today, once again, I repeat a quick repetition. So remember, University Grants Commission is conducting the National Educational Test or National Eligibility Test every year, twice every year. And unfortunately, last year, because of COVID, the examination took place only once, and it was, of course, online computer-based tests. And the second examination of 2020 is to take place next month, that is May 2021, again online. And of course, any second year postgraduate student or any student who has, any candidate who has a postgraduate certificate, post-graduation, can apply for the national eligibility test, and the minimum mark for general students, general category students, is 55% in the examination. That is, of course, the final postgraduate examination. Okay, so we continue our second session. Today is the second day of the live streaming lecture sessions on national eligibility test coaching. So I told you yesterday that there are two papers. Paper 1 is general paper, and paper 2 is the main paper. You choose your postgraduate subject, or if you have more than one post-graduation, the subject in which you need to get the eligibility certificate. Okay, so today I'll be lecturing on both the papers, that is paper 1 general paper, and paper 2 I am helping those students who are having a post-graduation in English. So paper 1 is our general paper. Yesterday I said that there are 10 units in paper 1 as well as paper 2, and I just introduced all the 10 modules in paper 1 yesterday. So also I introduced all the 10 modules in paper 2, that is English as well. Today, in the initial part of this lecture, I will be discussing one unit from the general paper, that is, of course, the paper which is testing the teaching and research aptitude of the candidate. So in today's lecture initial part, paper 1, teaching aptitude, I'll be talking to you in general about teaching, the definitions of teaching, then the nature and characteristics of teaching, and the objectives of teaching I'll be lecturing initially. After that, I'll be just giving you some questions. We'll be discussing some previous year's questions, and after that, we will move on to the second paper, that is a discussion of the English main course. Okay, so let us begin our discussion of the paper 1 today. So we are discussing teaching aptitude. Teaching aptitude, of course, we have to study about a lot of theoretical concepts of teaching, and now we are discussing the definitions of teaching. We are discussing definitions of teaching. So what is teaching? let us understand teaching. Teaching, in fact, is the concerted sharing of knowledge and experience, and it is organized within a discipline, and more generally the provision of stimulus to the psychological and intellectual growth of a person by another person. That is, of course, the very concept of teaching in education. Okay, and now we have to understand another idea or another definition of teaching. And teaching involves a teacher, a learner, content in the form of knowledge, facts, information, and skill to be communicated, a thoughtful purpose on the part of the learners to learn, and finally, a method that respects the learner's cognitive integrity and freedom of choice. This is, in fact, another concept of teaching, another definition of teaching. And I would ask you, if you wish to be a professor, if you wish to be a teacher, or if you wish to be a trainer, and if you wish to be, of course, a professor in a university of maybe any university in India or any of the colleges of India, of course, you need to get through the national eligibility test conducted by the University Grants Commission. So this is, of course, the basic eligibility or basic qualification to become an assistant professor in the colleges and universities of India. And besides, of course, these days the University Commission, Grants Commission came forward with another qualification that the candidate must have a PhD also. So national eligibility test for lectureship and junior research fellowship. So those students, candidates who get a top rank, that is 90 plus score, or 90 plus 90 percentage or 95 percentage, or some days it could be maybe 80, even 80, 85 percentage of marks in the national eligibility test can give you a junior research fellowship. And with this junior research fellowship, the candidate can join any research center in any of the universities of India. So also the candidate can join any of the research centers in any colleges under any universities of India, and the candidate will be, of course, getting a grant. And of course, this grant is really a very good amount. Okay, so such a grant is also given to the research scholar, monthly grant. All right, and now, of course, that is us. And remember, with hard work, with perseverance, with systematic planning, and of course, dedication and regular work, anybody can reach any goal. So dream big and work hard to achieve your dreams. Okay, and now next thing I have to tell you, we are discussing, of course, the paper 1 of the University Grants Commission National Eligibility Test. Okay, so there we have, of course, different modules. First module is testing the teaching and research aptitude of the candidate, and we are discussing what is teaching. So we have a lot of definitions of teaching, and according to the Oxford University, of course, the Advanced Oxford Learners Dictionary, teaching is imparting knowledge or skill, giving instruction or lesson, instilling and inspiring, of course, the students. So according to Oxford Dictionary, teaching means impart knowledge or skill, give instruction or lessons, instill and inspire with. This is the definition of teaching according to the Oxford Learners Dictionary. And we have a number of definitions as well. So according to the philosopher, education is whom, in fact, an education is whom, teaching is what all the great teachers appear to have in common is a love of their subject and objective satisfaction in arousing this love in their students, and an ability to convince them that what they are being taught is deadly serious. This is, of course, another definition of the education is whom. And now we have one more definition. So different definitions. Let's look at some 4 or 5 definitions. Next is teaching as a process of relationship which should be dealt with cooperation. That is another definition of teaching. Next, we have another definition, and this is, of course, according to the educationist Smith. So, considered teaching as a tripolar process. It's a tripolar process. Okay, so consider teaching as a tripolar process involving one, agent or sources of producing learning, which may be human or material. Number 2, a goal or target to be achieved. Number 3, the intervening variables consisting of learning or teaching situation involving human or physical conditions and instructional methods. This is yet another definition of what teaching is. Now, according to Emidon, another educationist, teaching is considered teaching as a process of interaction between teacher and the taught, as a cooperative enterprise, as a two-way traffic. So teaching is just looked upon as a two-way traffic between the teacher and the students. Okay, these are some of the definitions. There are a number of definitions, and we will be looking at more definitions in future. But today, of course, we will just slowly we will elaborate all these modules from the general paper. So now we have some 3, in fact 4 definitions, and now we will just look at the very nature and characteristics of teaching. There will be questions based on nature and characteristics of teaching. So now we will look at some of the very essential characteristics of teaching. There are some 8 characteristics, even 10 characteristics, but we will just look at a few, 6 or 7. Okay, so you need to remember maybe 5 or 6 characteristics. So the first characteristic of teaching is provide guidance and training. Is the first characteristic of teaching. Provide guidance and training. Number 2, interaction between teacher and students. This is the second aspect or characteristic of teaching. Interaction between. Teaching is an interaction between teacher and students. Everybody knows that. Now, the third characteristic of teaching is is an art. Teaching is an art to give knowledge to student in an effective way. Very, very simple and easy to understand. Okay, I repeat, teaching is an art to give knowledge to student in an effective way. And now the fourth characteristic of teaching is a science to educate fact and causes of different topic of different subjects. And now the fifth characteristic of teaching is to encourage students to learn more and more. This is teaching. Encouraging students to learn more and more. Now we have yet another characteristic of teaching, that is provide formal as well as informal education. That is yet another characteristic of teaching. Provide formal as well as informal education. Now another characteristic of teaching is communication of information and knowledge to students in teaching. Teacher imparts information in interesting way so that can easily understand the information. Okay, and now the yet another characteristic of teaching. Teaching is a tool to help students to adjust him in society and the environment. In short, we can just consolidate that teaching is a process in which we make better citizens. That is the way we just conclude the very nature and characteristic of teaching. And now we move on to the next area, that is objective of teaching, the objectives of teaching. Now we are, in fact, there are 8 objectives, 8 major objectives. Teaching has 8 major objectives, and under each of these 8 objectives, there are, of course, different subtopics. So the first objective of teaching is development ability of critical and logical thinking. This is the first objective of teaching, development ability of critical and logical thinking. That is the first objective. Okay, and what does it mean? So development ability of critical and logical thinking is the first objective, and it means a student should be able to identify problems. Number 2, analyze the problems. Number 3, select relevant facts and principles. Number 4, establish relationship. Number 5, advance arguments in support or against an issue. And next, draw inferences and conclusions and verify the inferences. So these are the different aspects of the first objective of teaching, that is development ability of critical and logical thinking. So now we move on to the second objective of teaching. There are 8 objectives. The first objective is development ability of critical and logical thinking. Second objective is development of knowledge. So what do you mean by development of knowledge? A student acquires knowledge of various terms, concepts, principles, ideas, events, problems, personalities, events, etc. related to the subject and the study. And development of how is development of knowledge done? So we have recollection of facts, events, years, terms, incidents, all that, right? Then recognize facts, events, concepts, etc. Similarly, read information and of course show information on maps, charts, diagrams, etc. So this is the second objective, development of knowledge, and development of knowledge is just happening through recollection of facts, recognition of facts, then reading and understanding information, and showing and presenting information. Now we come to the third objective of teaching. Third objective of teaching is development of understanding. That is, develop an understanding of terms, facts, events, years, principles, etc. related to the study. That is the third objective of teaching. And how is development of understanding? Development of understanding is taking place through classification of facts, events, terms, concepts. Similarly, comparison and contrast, a comparison and contrast of events, trends, concepts, etc. Similarly, discrimination between the significant and the silly matters. So also identifying the relationship between causes and effects, and detecting errors in the statement and rectifying the errors. Similarly, arranging facts in a particular non-order, interpreting the maps, charts, diagrams from the source of history. Okay, so far we have discussed 3 of the objectives of teaching. That is, number 1, development ability of critical and logical thinking, development of knowledge, and development of understanding. Now we move on to the fourth objective of teaching, that is development of attitudes. This is very important. Development of attitudes is the fourth objective of teaching. And what do you mean by development of attitudes? So student community, or a particular student, an individual student should develop favorable attitudes. And it could be just showing respect towards other people, ways of life, ideas. Similarly, know about other religions, faiths, customs, conventions, festivals, languages, etc. Similarly, establish friendship with other people, practice the noble religions and their principles, cooperate with others in social and historical activities, appreciate cultural differences, believe in equality of man irrespective of caste, creed, class, color, and religion. This is what is development of aptitudes, or attitudes, right? So teaching helps students develop good attitude. Now we move on to the fifth objective of teaching. The fifth objective of teaching is create interest in the study. Okay, so developed interest in the study of students with activities relating to participate in historical drama and historical occasions, visit places of historical interest, archaeological sites, museums, and archives, read historical documents, maps, charts, play active roles in the activities of the historical organizations and associations, write articles or on related subjects and topics, teach case study and presentation of related topic. So with this, we come to an end of the good evening to all of you. Thank you so much. There are some 200 plus participants. Thank you all for joining. Please continue your presence every day. Every evening, I'll be lecturing on the paper one of National Educational or Eligibility Test, as well as the main paper. So just join and see that it helps you. Now, in fact, we are discussing the objectives of today. Initial part of this lecture, I am lecturing on paper one, the general paper, and today we are focusing on module one on teaching and research aptitude, and we have already defined teaching, and now we discuss different objectives of teaching. We have seen 5 objectives. First objective of teaching is development ability of critical and logical thinking. Second, development of knowledge. Third, development of understanding. Fourth objective, development of attitudes. And the fifth objective, create interest in the study. Now we come to the sixth objective of teaching, that is develop practical skill. This is very important. So the fifth objective of teaching is develop practical skill. That is, students develop practical skills by drawing historical maps, charts, diagrams, prepare models, tools, etc., with helpful in the study, which is of course helpful in the study and understanding of historical events. That is the sixth objective of teaching. Now we come to the seventh objective of teaching, that is development of adjustment. This is again very important. So a very important objective of teaching is development of adjustment. So the manner of teaching should be such that it makes the students feel at home in his classroom. Okay, a student feels at home in the classroom. Student is not worried. He is not under any kind of tension or fear. The teacher must ensure the learner is well adjusted to the environment, which includes his classmates, schoolmates, and other members of his society at large. That is the seventh objective of teaching, development of adjustment. A student must be able to, or a teacher should help a student to adjust with the the environment of the educational institution, no matter whether it is school or college. Now, in fact, I'm just moving a bit fast, but in fact, that is because of the constraints of time. So I would request you, okay, now that it is a live streaming session, it is recorded, and anytime you can just listen to this lecture. Okay, so because of time constraints, I would be just lecturing in a fast manner. Just excuse me for that, because we have to wind up a lot. We have to discuss a lot. I will be just lecturing in a fast manner, but just listen to it again and again. You will have no difficulty. Okay, now we look at the third objective of teaching, achievement of values. This is very important. So in fact, the eighth objective of teaching is achievement of values. Moral, cultural, spiritual value of students are developed by best teaching methodology, which express emphatically point out that certain basic values as respect for others, responsibility, solidarity, creativity, and integrity must be fostered in students. This is very important. The objective of teaching is achievement of values. All the values should be inculcated in the mind of students. Okay, so emphasis should be given in educating good qualities like cooperation, goodwill, forgiveness, tolerance, honesty, patience, etc., in order to encourage universal brotherhood and to prepare students worthy citizens of the country. All right, this is the eighth objective, and now we come to the ninth objective of teaching, that is make friendly environment. This is very important. So one of the primary objectives of teaching is to make a friendly environment of the place of teaching, which is helpful to remain focused on the teaching. Okay, so these are the 9 objectives of teaching, and now we shall just of course I will continue my lecturing on the lecture on, of course, different modules in the first paper. Now of course we have to look at some of the solved questions which were in the previous question paper, and all these questions are based on the teaching and research aptitude of the students. Okay, so please listen to me and just try to answer. I'll be giving you the question first. As you listen to the question, please, I'll also give you the answers, right? There are options, so just try to answer. Okay, so we have the question here. A teacher can be successful if he or she, we have 4 options, and you have to choose from all the 4. Okay, which is the right option? A teacher can be successful if he or she dash. Option A, helps students in becoming better citizens. From my lecture, you should have just understood the answer, right? Number 2, option B, imparts subject knowledge to students. Then option C, prepares students to pass the examination. Option D, presents the subject matter in a well-organized manner. So a teacher can be successful if he or she dash. The correct answer is option A. A teacher can be successful if he or she helps students in becoming better citizens. Okay, so that is the answer. Now we come to the next question, question number 2. Okay, the second question, listen to the second question. Dynamic approach to teaching means. We will subsequent lectures, maybe next day we are discussing, of course, different kinds of teaching, and we'll be discussing dynamic approach to teaching and other approaches to teaching. So we have a question here. Dynamic approach to teaching means. Dynamic approach to teaching means option A, teaching should be forceful and effective. Option B, teachers should be energetic and dynamic. Option C, the topics of teaching should not be static but dynamic. Option D, students should be required to learn through activities. Dynamic approach to teaching means. Which of the option is correct? And the correct answer is option D. Dynamic approach to teaching means students should be required to learn through activities. Learning through activities is dynamic approach to teaching. Now we come to the next question. Spare the rod and spoil the child gives the message that, okay, what is the message of this? What is the message of this quotation? Spare the rod and spoil the child gives the message that, option A, punishment in the class should be banned. Option B, corporal punishment is not acceptable. Option C, undesirable behavior must be punished. Option D, children should be beaten with rods. Okay, which is the correct answer? And the correct option is option C, undesirable behavior must be punished. I read the question and answer once more. Spare the rod and spoil the child gives the message that undesirable behavior must be punished. Now we come to question number 4. Next question. A good teacher must be 4 options. This is quite interesting. Okay, we think that maybe, of course, students, you have an idea of who is a very good teacher. Okay, maybe if there are, of course, teachers listening, they will also think, yeah, that is a good teacher. This is a good thing. Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Once again, right? I see Ranjit, Manas, and of course, Jesslyn, and a lot of students there. Okay, good evening, everybody. We continue our discussion of the previous questions. Next, a good teacher must be option A, resourceful and autocratic. Option B, resourceful and participative. Option C, resourceful and authoritative. Option D, resourceful and dominant. Which is the correct answer? The correct answer is option B, that is resourceful and participative. A good teacher must be resourceful and participative. Now we move on to the next question. Okay, remember, these are all, this will be the kind of question that can come in your general paper. General paper is the paper for all the candidates. No matter what your main subject is, you will have to write the first paper, general paper. And general paper, normally in the question pattern, this is the online computer-based examination. Okay, 50 questions with 2 marks, 50 into 2, 100 marks. And paper 2, your main paper, 100 questions with 2 marks, that is a total of 200. So 100 paper 1 marks, 100 marks plus 200 marks is a total of 300 marks in your national eligibility test, paper 1 and paper 2 together. So the online examination is of 1 shift, in which part 1, paper 1 is the examination, and second you have paper 2, or all the 2 papers you have to, of course, write at the same sitting, single sitting, paper 1 and paper 2 examination, 3 hours. Morning shift for some candidates, afternoon shift for some candidates. Okay, so now we move on to the next question from teaching and research aptitude. Okay, question number 5. While delivering lecture, if there is some disturbance in the class, a teacher should, 4 options. Okay, this is very interesting. Just examining whether you will be a good teacher, whether the candidates knows how to handle or manage a class. Okay, so while delivering lecture, if there is some disturbance in the class, a teacher should, option A, keep quiet for a while and then continue. Option B, punish those causing disturbance. Option C, motivate to teach those causing disturbance. And option D, not bother of what is happening in the class. And the right option is option C, motivate to teach those causing disturbance. So that is, while delivering lecture, if there is some disturbance in the class, a teacher should motivate to teach those causing disturbance. Now we move on to the next question. And the question is, a person can enjoy teaching as a profession when he dash. Wonderful question. Okay, maybe these days, of course, teaching is, of course, we enjoy teaching. Maybe some teachers enjoy teaching just because of the salary they get. Okay, so let us look at the options, right? So a person can enjoy teaching as a profession when he, option A, has control over students. Option B, commands respect from students. Option C, is more qualified than his colleagues. Option D, is very close to higher authorities, principal, management, and all. Okay, so once again, a person can enjoy teaching as a profession when he dash. The correct answer is when he commands respect from students. Okay, when he commands respect from students, that is the right answer. Now we move on to the next question number 7, again from the same module, that is teaching and research aptitude. Teachers' role at higher education level is to, option A, provide information to students. Option B, promote self-learning in students. Option C, encourage healthy competition among students. Option D, help students to solve their problems. Which is the right option? Teachers' role at higher education level is to dash. This is, of course, a question that helps us to evaluate. Shelina Akhtar is asking me, where are you from, sir? Okay, thank you for the question. It's not easy for me to answer all your question, but Shelina, I'm from Kerala. I'm from Kozhikode. I'm working as an assistant professor in one of the leading colleges of Kozhikode or Kerala. In fact, my college is St. Joseph's College, Devgiri, Kozhikode, and I am assistant professor in Department of English here. Thanks for your question. If you find my lectures useful, if you find the channel useful, of course, just subscribe and like the videos, lectures. You can see a number of lectures there. There are lectures for PG students, UG students, and of course, I'll be live streaming every day. Yeah, you're from Bangladesh. All right. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Thank you so much, Shelina Akhtar. Thank you. All right. Now I'll continue. Of course, I'll try now and then to respond to your comments. Okay, it's not easy because we are not concerned with making friendship or anything of that sort. My purpose is to help my students get through national eligibility test and become good professors and researchers in our universities. Okay, so now we continue our discussion of the previous question papers, and the next question is, which of the following is not a prescribed level of teaching? Which of the following is not a prescribed level of teaching? We have different levels of teaching. Question is, which of the following is not a prescribed level of teaching? Option A, memory. Option B, understanding. Option C, reflective method or reflective level. Option D, differentiation. And the question again, which of the following is not a prescribed level of teaching? Okay, and the right option is option D, differentiation. All right, now we move on to the next question, question number 9. A good teacher is one who, option A, gives useful information. B, explains concepts and principles. Option C, gives printed notes to students. There are teachers who just give printed notes, who just dictate in the class, who just give, of course, textbooks, right? Okay, so option D, inspires students to learn. All right, so a good teacher is one who, A, gives useful information, B, explains concepts and principles, C, gives printed notes to students, D, inspires students to learn. And the option, the right option is, the correct answer is option D, inspires students to learn. All right. Now we move on to the next question. That is, all right, listen, it's in fact a slightly long question. Greater the handicap of the students coming to the education, greater the demand on the dash. Repeat the question. Greater the handicap of the students coming to the education, greater the demand on the dash. Option A, family. Option B, society. Option C, teacher. Option D, state. Greater the handicap of the students coming to education, greater the demand on the option C, teacher. It is the role of the teacher to help a student who is having some handicap, physical, mental, psychological, emotional, or even spiritual. It is the role of the teacher to help student improve in all these levels. That's why it's a very relevant question. Greater the handicap of the students coming to the education, greater the demand on the, not the family, not the society, not the state, not the country, but the teacher. Okay, now we come to the next question. Please listen. What of the, or which of the following attributes denote great strengths of a teacher? So some of the attributes of teachers are given, and we have to arrange them, prioritize them. We have to arrange them as per the significance. What or which of the following attributes denote great strengths of a teacher? Option A, full-time active involvement in institutional management. Option B, setting examples. Option C, willingness to put assumptions to the test. Option D, acknowledging mistakes. Okay, so we have to select the correct answer from the codes given below. There are 4 codes, and in these 4 codes, these 4 options are prioritized, or they are arranged as per the significance, and we have to choose, of course, the best order. And option A, B, C, that is full-time active involvement in the institutional management, setting examples, willingness to put assumptions to the test. B, C, and D. The third option, A, C, and D. Fourth option, A, B, C, and D, all the options. The correct answer is B, C, and D, that is setting examples. All right. The strength of a teacher. Number 1, a teacher must set example. Number 2, that is C, willingness to put assumption to the test, critical thinking, logical, just looking for scientific and of course reasoning. All right. Then D, acknowledging mistakes. If a teacher is wrong, a teacher has to admit his mistake and look for the correct answer, make changes. That is right. So now I have just spoken to you for almost 45 minutes, and so far I was discussing paper 1, that is the general paper. Now, yeah, every day I'll be discussing paper 1 for half an hour, of course, to 30 to 45 minutes, and remaining half an hour, of course, I'll be discussing paper 2, and our paper 2 is English. Yesterday, in the introductory live streaming session on National Eligibility Test, UGC Grants Commission, National Eligibility Test, and for Lectureship and JRF, I introduced both papers. If you did not watch yesterday's lecture, please watch that. It's in my channel. Please subscribe my channel. Please, if you like the videos and lectures, please like it, and you can just comment it. If you have any queries, any questions, any doubts, Of course, if you want me to focus on any area, you can just comment it in the under the videos. I'll just answer them. Okay, and now we start the discussion of paper 2. Yesterday I said that there are 10. I introduced the 10 modules in paper 2, and today we will, of course, discuss some of the general topics for English. Okay, so please listen to me. Normally, this time again, the national eligibility test will be computer. This is, of course, online, and it would be objective type questions. So we have to be familiar with as many multiple choice objective type questions as possible. So I'll be reading out the questions and giving the answers to a number of questions from previous years question papers of the English main paper. Okay. So first question, which is the sonnet of 10.5 lines? Which is the sonnet of 10.5 lines? Answer is Gerald Manley Hopkins' Pied Beauty. Pied Beauty of Gerald Manley Hopkins sonnet is just 10.5 lines. Next question, name the 9 muses who preside over the various kinds of poetry, arts, and sciences. So you have to remember the muses of different poetry, arts, and sciences. So the muse of history is Clio, C-L-I-O. Examination, UGC examination, the question can be, who is the muse of history? Who is the god of the muse of history? It is Clio, C-L-I-O. And next, who is the muse of lyric poetry? The muse of lyric poetry is Utopia, E-U-T-E-R-P-E, Utopia. And who is the muse of comedy and pastoral poetry? Who is the muse of comedy and pastoral poetry? The muse of comedy and pastoral poetry is Thalia, T-H-A-L-I-A. Next, who is the muse of tragedy? The muse of tragedy is Melpomene, M-E-L-P-O-M-E-N-E. Melpomene is the muse of tragedy. Next, who is the muse of dancing? The muse of dancing is Terpsichore, muse of dancing, Terpsichore, spelling T-E-R-P-S-I-C-H-O-R-E. It is Terpsichore. Next question, who is the muse of love poetry? The muse of love poetry is Erato, E-R-A-T-O, Erato. Next question, who is the muse of sacred songs? The muse of sacred songs is Polyhymnia. Question again, who is the muse of sacred poetry? The muse of sacred poetry is Polyhymnia, P-O-L-Y-H-Y-M-N-I-A. Next question, who is the muse of astronomy? The muse of astronomy is Urania, U-R-A-N-I-A. Who is the muse of epic poetry? The muse of epic poetry is Calliope, C-A-L-L-I-O-P-E, Calliope. Okay, now next question. Pidgin. We have Pidgin, Creole, different kinds of languages. So the question is slang and all. Okay, Pidgin is the corrupt form of the Chinese word. Okay, Pidgin is the corrupt word of the Chinese word. Which Chinese word? Okay, answer is business, B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S. Next question. Okay, what is an obad? What is an obad? Obad, A-U-B-A-D-E. What do you mean by A-U-B-A-D-E? Obad. An obad is a dawn song. DAWN, early morning, a dawn song. It's in fact an early morning love song. What is an obad? An obad is an early morning love song or an early morning song. Next question. Who is known as the laughing philosopher? Who is known as the laughing philosopher? Okay, it is Democritus. The laughing philosopher is Democritus. Spelling Democritus, who is known as the laughing philosopher. The laughing philosopher is Democritus. Next question. Name three famous quarrelsome wives in history. Very interesting question. Okay, name three famous quarrelsome wives in history. Okay, and the three famous quarrelsome wives in history are Xanthippe, okay, wife of Socrates. Xanthippe, X-ray, Xanthippe, wife of Socrates. Xanthippe. Second wife, Gemma, wife of Dante, Gemma. Third quarrelsome wife, Anne Hathaway, wife of Shakespeare. Okay, so the three most quarrelsome wives of wives in history: Xanthippe, Gemma, and Anne Hathaway. I'm sure maybe if my audience is professors, maybe some of they would say that their wives are also quarrelsome. But now that most of you are students, I'm sure none of you would say that. Okay. Anyway, it's just a joke, right? We just move on to the next question now. The question is, okay, what is Aristotle's school known as? What is Aristotle's school known as? Very important question. What is Aristotle's school known as? Aristotle's school is known as peripatetic. Peripatetic. Okay. Aristotle's school is known as peripatetic. 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 Okay. Next question. What is a blazon? What is a blazon? Okay. So a blazon is a catalog of women's charms. A catalog of women's charms is known as blazon. B-L-A-Z-O-N. Question is, what is a blazon? A blazon. B-L-A-Z-O-N. A blazon is a catalog of women's charms. Next question. What is the original meaning of Lucifer, which later came to mean Satan by mistake? The original meaning of Lucifer is the morning star. The morning star. I've seen this question many a time. Say, for example, when you study Milton, when you study parallel laws, you have Satan there, Lucifer there. So what is the original meaning of Lucifer? That is morning star. Now, the next question. Okay, what is the structural division of Pindaric ode? What is the structural division of Pindaric ode? Very important question. What is the structural division of Pindaric ode? Okay, so the structural division of Pindaric ode is strophe, antistrophe, and epode. A Pindaric ode is divided into three parts. And the three parts of Pindaric ode are strophe, antistrophe, and epode. Next question. What is the meaning of the Latin words veni, vidi, vidi? And this quotation is often associated with the history of Julius Caesar. And it is, I came, I saw, and I conquered. That is the Latin words veni, vidi, vici. Veni, vidi, vici means I came, I saw, and I conquered. It is said that this is what Julius Caesar uttered when he stepped onto the shores of Great Britain, England. Now the next question, name the three fates. Name the three fates. Okay, very important. The three fates. The three fates are Clotho, Lechesis, and Atropos. Okay, very important. The three the three fates are Clotho. It is said that Clotho is just weaving the in fact, the thread of our life, and lechesis is measuring the length of the thread of life, and atropos is cutting the thread of life when the time comes. That is, we are born, we live, and we die. So the three fates are Clotho, Clotho, lechesis, Lschessis, and atropos, Atropos. Name the three fates. Now the next question, name the three furies. Name the three furies, Furies. Name the three furies. The three furies are, okay, Alecto, Megara, and Tisiphone. The three furies. Who are the three furies? The three furies are Alecto, Allecto, Megara, Megaera, and Tisiphone. Next question, the real name of Voltaire. What is the real name of Voltaire? Okay, the real name of Voltaire is Francois Marie Hérault. Okay, there, sir, UGC NET के paper में English आती है क्या? All right, yes, we are discussing, of course, the second paper. UGC, we have two papers. First paper is general English, that is general paper, in which, of course, teaching aptitude, research aptitude, etc. is asked. Your teaching and research aptitude tested in paper 1. Okay, paper 2 is, of course, main papers. There are 81 main subjects, and one of the 81 main subjects is English, and I'm now lecturing about the possible questions that can come for the English main paper of the National Eligibility Test of University Grants Commission for Lectureship and Junior Research Fellowship. Okay, in the first half of this lecture, I discussed paper 1, and I was just defining teaching. I told about different characteristics of teaching. I also spoke about the objectives of teaching. If you have just joined right now, go to the maybe after this lecture, go to the first part of this lecture, and you will know that I have discussed some of the module of general paper, that is the teaching unit. So just listen to that afterwards, right? Yesterday, I just spoke about the very 10 units of paper 1 and paper 2. So yesterday's lecture, if you did not listen to yesterday's lecture, please watch that. And if you have any questions or any queries, or if you want me to, of course, emphasize or just talk in detail about any area or any module, just ask that. All right. Now we will just continue our discussion of the questions from English. Okay. So the real name of Voltaire. What is the real name of Voltaire? Real name of Voltaire is Francois Marie Hérault. And next question, who said to name is to destroy, to suggest is to create? Okay, who said to name is to destroy, to suggest is to create? Who said to name is to destroy, to suggest is to create? And it is it is, of course, Mallarmé, the French philosopher, thinker, and writer, said to name is to destroy, to suggest is to create. Okay, next question. Who is the author of Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog? Who is the author of Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog? Right, look at the title. I repeat, who said that? Who is the author of Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog? All right, and the answer is okay, Dylan Thomas. All right, Dylan Thomas authored Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog. Next question, who is the author of the novel If Winter Comes? Who is the author of the novel If Winter Comes? It is A.S.M. Hutchinson. A. S. M. Hutchinson. A.S.M. Hutchinson is the author of If Winter Comes. Next question. Who is the author of the tragedy Prometheus Bound? Who is the author of the tragedy Prometheus Bound? Who wrote Prometheus Bound? And Prometheus Bound is written by Aeschylus. Rashmi is just all right. Good evening, Rashmi. Thanks for joining. Okay, I cannot, in fact, respond to you by typing. Okay, I'm glad you have joined. In fact, Rashmi, in the first part of this lecture, I just discussed about teaching aptitude. We discussed some 10 questions in teaching aptitude section. And now, of course, we are discussing English main, okay, paper 2 we are discussing right now. Thanks to all of you again. Now, of course, there are 170 listeners, 170 students there. And I'm very glad about this great support you give me. So if you find this channel and my live streaming lectures on UGC preparation useful, please just ask your friends to join. And I would also say it will, of course, be helpful for even students in schools, right? Maybe high school students or the higher secondary students, right? They will know how to become a professor, how to become, of course, right? And remember, once you get your national eligibility certificates for lectureship or research, JRF or lectureship, okay, you needn't pass your state eligibility test. Your maybe your state government is asking you to pass eligibility test, right? So this examination is above all such eligibility tests. So it is very easy. You can easily pass paper 1 and paper 2. Your main subject is paper 2. Okay, we continue our discussion of the main paper, English. Next question is, who is the author of the novel Quo Vadis? Who wrote the novel Quo Vadis? And the novel Quo Vadis is written by Henrik Sienkiewicz. Henrik Sienkiewicz wrote Quo Vadis. Okay, now we have the next question. Who wrote the novel USA? Very important question. I've seen this many times in the examination. Who wrote the novel United States of America, USA? It is just USA. Who wrote the novel USA? The novel USA is written by John Dos Passos. John Dos Passos, right? Next question. Who wrote the novel who is the author of the novel The Mother? Okay, The Mother. All right, The Mother, the novel is written by Garcia Deleda. Garcia, Garcia, Deleda, Deleda. All right, now we come to the next question. The next question is, who wrote the drama Roar? Who wrote the drama R-U-R, R capital, U capital R? Who wrote the drama Roar? And Roar is written by Washington Irving. Washington Irving wrote Roar. Next question, who is the author of the novel World Enough and Time? Who is the author of the novel World Enough and Time? World Enough and Time is authored by Robert Penn Warren. Robert, R-O-B-R-T, Penn, P-E-N-N, Warren, W-A-R-R-E-N. Okay, now we have the next question. Name the first English daily newspaper. Very important question. Name the first English daily newspaper. Okay, the first English daily newspaper is Daily Courant. It is published in the year 1702. Daily Courant, spelling is D-A-I-L-Y-C-O-U-R-A-N-T of 1702 is the first English newspaper. All right, now we come to the next question. Name, to whom do you attribute the famous phrase cogito ergo I think therefore I am? Okay, who is the speaker of I think therefore I am? Okay, I think therefore I am is uttered by Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes. Okay, now we have the next question. What is the dramatic device with which a god was brought on the stage in ancient Greek drama? Very important question. Everybody knows that. What is the dramatic device with which a god is brought on stage in ancient Greek drama? It is simple and easy. It is Deus ex machina. Deus machina. Machina. Next question. Name the three parts of Dante's Divine Commedia. Dante's Divine Commedia, three parts. Okay, that is the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. Three parts of Divine Comedy: the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. All right. Now we have the next question. Name the three graces in Greek mythology. Three graces in Greek mythology. Okay, the three graces in Greek mythology are, it is Euphrosyne, Aglaia, and Thalia. Three graces in Greek mythology. That is, okay, three graces in Greek mythology. Euphrosyne, Euphrosyne, Aglaia, Aglaia, and Thalia, Thalia. Now, the next question. What do you call a novel in which frightening and supernatural atmosphere is created, describing haunted castles? Very, very easy. And in fact, it is in the syllabus of reading fiction. What do you call a novel in which frightening and supernatural atmosphere is created, describing haunted castles? The answer is a Gothic novel. Gothic novel. And an example for that is Castle of Otranto, Horace Walpole's Castle of Otranto. Okay, next question. Who was the leader of the Imagist movement? Very important question. Who is the leader of the Imagist movement? Imagist movement, the leader is Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound is the leader of the Imagist movement. Now we move on to next question. Okay, name the lady associated with legendary Peeping Tom. Peeping Tom, the lady associated with Peeping Tom is, okay, that is Godiva, Godiva. Who is the author of the Olympian Odes? The author of the Olympian Odes is Pindar. Pindar is the god of Olympian Odes. Next question, name the wife of Ulysses. Okay, the wife of Ulysses is Penelope. Penelope. In many literary texts, poetry, fiction, epic, okay, we have the reference to Ulysses as well as Penelope. So name the wife of Ulysses, Penelope. Now, son of Ulysses, Telemachus. All right. Next question. What is the collective name given to the first 5 books of the Old Testament? Okay. What is the collective name given to the first 5 books of Old Testament? Answer is Pentateuch. Pentateuch. Okay. Pentateuch. The collective name given to the first 5 books of Old Testament is Pentateuch. Pentateuch. In Malayalam, it is Panchagrandhi. Panchagrandhi. Okay. Next question. Name the woman who inspired Petrarch love poetry. Okay. Very important question. This question was in many previous question papers. Name the woman who inspired Petrarch's love poetry. Petrarch's love poetry is inspired under Laura, Laura. Okay. So next question. Philomela was changed into dash. Philomela. Okay, you read, you study your Wasteland, and of course we have references in Wasteland, and in, of course, classical literature and classical poetry we have Philomela. So Philomela was changed into dash. Philomela was changed into a nightingale. Nightingale. All right. So we have nightingale. So whenever you hear about the bird nightingale, remember that nightingale was early Philomela. All right. Now we come to the next question. What is the name given to the type of romances that deal with rogues and knaves and their adventurous life? Okay. So very important question. This is about fiction, types of fiction. All right. So what is the name given to the type of romances that deal with rogues and knaves and their adventurous life. It is Picaro's novel. Picaro's novel. I know that Picaro, the word means rogue or villain. It is in fact a Spanish word. All right. Now we come to the next question. What is the pilot's question? Pilot's question. Pontius Pilate's question. Pontius Pilate question is, what is truth? And when you remember Pontius Pilate, when you remember what is truth, you remember Francis Bacon. Okay. Next question. How many pairs of parallel lives are there in Plutarch's parallel lives? How many pairs of parallel lives are there in Plutarch's parallel lives? Okay, there are 23 parallel lives in Plutarch's parallel lives. Important question. Okay, now we come to the next question. Who fabricated popish plot? Okay, who fabricated popish plot? P-O-P-I-S-H plot, P-L-O-T. Popish plot is fabricated by it is Titus Oatus. Titus Oatus, T-I-T-U-S, Oates, O-A-T-E-S. Next question. Who is often called the poet's poet? All right. Who is often called poet's poet? Why? The poet's poet is Edmund Spenser. Edmund Spenser, who wrote Prothalamion, Epithalamion, then Fairy Queen. And it is because of his great contribution to the English language and great English poetry that he is known as poet's poet, Edmund Spenser. All right. Next question. Who said poetry is the chemistry of human life and theater is the moral laboratory? Wonderful quotation. Who said poetry is the chemistry of human life and theater is the moral laboratory? Okay, it is in fact a quotation from Moulton, M-O-U-L-T-O-N. All right, now we have some more questions, general questions. Okay, so Shilpa, thank you very much for joining. And in fact, we have started. This is in fact it's almost 1.25 since I quarter minutes. Since 1 hour and 15 minutes since I began the lecture. First part I lectured on general paper. Now I am lecturing on main paper, English paper. And remember, every day I'll be trying if I have some inconvenience, I may not be there. Otherwise, I'm planning to be there online, just lecturing on UGC National Eligibility Test for lectureship as well as Junior Research Fellowship. Every evening at 9 in my channel, there will be the live streaming. So first part of the lecture, I'll be lecturing on paper 1, and second part, I'll be lecturing on the main paper. Normally, of course, English. If I'll try, of course, to lecture maybe on some other subjects as well, but I'll be just informing that. Now, we will just continue our discussion of the significant questions from English. So these questions I have collected from previous question papers of National Eligibility Test. Okay, so the next question is, what is the meaning of the name Madame Eglantine? I've seen this question many a time. What is the meaning of the name Madame Eglantine? And remember, it comes from Chaucer. What is the meaning of the name Madame Eglantine? Okay, the meaning of Madame Eglantine is my lady sweet briar. My lady sweet briar. My lady sweet briar. Okay, so my dear students, if you find my channel useful, this lecture useful, please like the channel, like this lecture, and of course comment. If you have questions, you can just ask it in the comment box. I'll try to answer your questions next day. Okay, if you have any spelling problem or any confusion about any questions, right, you can just ask that, right? Thanks a lot for joining. Now we continue. Next question. In which skill does the Weef of Bath surpass all? Again from Chaucer. In which skill does Weef of Bath surpass all? Okay, and Weef of Bath surpasses all in cloth making. Weef of Bath is very good in cloth making. Next question. What does the crowned A in the prioress brooch stand for? Again, from Chaucer, what does crowned A in the prioress brooch stand for? The A in the brooch of the prioress stands for Amor Vincit Omnia. A stands for armor. Amor Vincit Omnia. Love conquers all. Next question. How much does the weave of bath Sunday kerchief weigh? A very important question. I've seen it repeatedly in more than five questions. How much does the weave of bath Sunday kerchief weigh? The weave of bath Sunday kerchief weighs for 10 pounds. 10 pounds. That is the answer. All right. Next question. How many stories did Chaucer plan to write originally in Canterbury Tales? Once again, I repeat. How many stories did Chaucer intend to write originally in Canterbury Tales? Chaucer originally intended to include 121, 1 stories in the Canterbury Tales. Next question. Name the 18th century scholar who established that Chaucer's verse is perfectly metrical. Who said that? Which 18th century scholar said that Chaucer's verse is metrical? And it was Thomas Tyrwhitt. Thomas, Thomas Tyrwhitt. Tyrwhitt. It was Thomas Tyrwhitt who said that Chaucer's lines or Chaucer's verse was very much metrical. Okay, perfectly metrical. Next question. Who translated Utopia into English? Okay, who translated Utopia into English? Ralph Robinson. R-A-L-P-H, Ralph Robinson, R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N. Ralph Robinson translated Utopia into English. Next question. Okay. Hythlode is the central figure in Thomas More's Utopia. What does his name mean in Greek? Hythlode, Hythlody. What does it mean? Okay, Hythlode means talker of nonsense. Hythlode means talker of nonsense. Next question. Blank verse was first used in English by dash. Who used blank verse for the first time in English? Earl of Surrey. Very important. Earl of Surrey used blank verse for the first time in English. Next question. What is the meaning of the word amority? Very important. Okay. What is the meaning of the word amority? Okay. Amority, the word means little loves. Little loves. L-I-T-T-L-E, loves. L-O-V-E-S. Little loves. Okay, now one more very important question from Chaucer. The phrase Amor Vincit Omnia is found engraved on the brooch of Chaucer's pilgrim. Okay, the prioress. Very easy to understand. Next question. Who among Chaucer's pilgrims is as fresh as the month of May? Important question. Who among Chaucer's pilgrim is as fresh as the month of May? Okay, and the answer is the squire. The squire is as fresh as the month of May. Okay, next question. How many pilgrims were there at the Tabard Inn? Very important question. How many pilgrims were there at the Tabard Inn? Okay, 29 pilgrims according to the prologue were at the Tabard Inn. Okay, and now when we include Chaucer and Harry Bailey, the host, it comes to 31. 29 pilgrims plus Chaucer plus Harry Bailey, 31. All right. Now we come to next question. What is the name of the narrator in Utopia? The name of the narrator in Utopia. Name of the narrator in Utopia is Raphael Hythlode. Raphael, R-A-P-H-A-E-L, Hythlode, H-Y-T-H-L-O-D-A-Y. Next question. What is the word meaning of Utopia? U-T-O-P-I-A. What does it mean? What is the word meaning of Utopia? Utopia means nowhere land. Nowhere land. Okay. Next question. In which language was Utopia originally written? Easy, very easy. Latin. All right. Next question. Name a book of Chaucer's on astronomy. Very important question. Name one of the books of Chaucer on astronomy. One of the books of Chaucer on astronomy is, okay, a treatise on the astrolabe. A treatise a treaty, TREATISC, on the astrolabe, ASTROLAB, a treaty on the astrolabe. Okay, next question. Who objected to calling Bunyan as the father of the English novel and declared that if Bunyan is the father of Chaucer, if the Bunyan is the father, Chaucer is the grandfather of English novel? A wonderful question. Okay, who objected to calling John Bunyan as the father of English novel and declared that if Bunyan is the father, Chaucer is the grandfather of the English novel? And it was G.K. Chesterton who said that Chaucer is then the grandfather of English novel. Next question. Who called Chaucer the noble poet of Bytime? Who called Chaucer the noble poet of Bytime? That is Lydgate. It was Lydgate who called Chaucer the noble poet of Bytime. Okay, next question. Name the host in Canterbury Tales. The host in Canterbury Tales is Harry Bailey. Okay, I told some time ago. Next question. What is the original Dutch meaning of Lollards? What is the meaning of Lollards? All right, it's a Dutch word. What does it originally mean? The Dutch word Lollards means mumblers, beggars. All right. Next question. Name the poet dramatist who was also born as Shakespeare was in 1564. Okay. Shakespeare was born in 1564. Same time, another poet dramatist was also born, and who is born in the same year of 1564. Answer is Marlowe, Christopher Marlowe. Okay, the tragical history of Dr. Faustus Walpole, not Walpole, then Duchess of Malfi. Okay, that is Marlowe. All right, Walpole is by Ben Jonson. All right, now we come to the next question. The Roman playwright who inspired Elizabethan revenge tragedy was Seneca. Okay, a Roman playwright who inspired Elizabethan revenge tragedy was Seneca, and it is of course under the influence of Seneca that Marlowe and Shakespeare and others wrote revenge tragedies, revenge plays. Right. The name of Spenser's greatest work is Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen. The name of Spenser's greatest work is The Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen. Okay. Next question. Name the Roman governor mentioned by Bacon in his essay of Truth. That's Pontius Pilate. Pontius Pilate. Okay. Now the next question. Name Sidney's prose romance. Sidney's prose romance. What is the name of Sidney's prose romance? Sidney's prose romance is Arcadia. Sidney's prose romance is Arcadia. Next question. What is Sidney's most famous sonnet cycle? Sidney's most famous sonnet cycle is, okay, Astrophel and Stella. Astrophel and Stella. Okay. Now, next question. Who is the Italian horseman mentioned in Apology for Poetry? Very important. Who is the Italian horseman mentioned in Apology for Poetry? The Italian horseman mentioned in Apology for Poetry is Pugilano, Pugilano, Pugilano. Okay, now the next question. In Apology for Poetry, Sidney praises Chaucer's one work. Which one? Okay, which work of Chaucer is praised in Sidney's Apology for Poetry? Okay, Chaucer's Troilus and Cresside. Troilus and Cresside of Chaucer is praised by Sidney. Okay, next question. To whom was Stephen Gossen's The School of Abuse dedicated? School of Abuse is dedicated to Philip Sidney. Next question. In a prose romance, a style that became fashionable was used by John Lilly. It came to be known as, okay, it is known as euphuism. All right, euphuism. All right. Next question. What is the alternative title of Gorboduc? Gorboduc. The alternative title of Gorboduc is Ferex and Porrex. Ferex, F-E-R-R-E-X, and Porrex, P-O-R-R-E-X. Ferex and Porrex. Okay. Next question. Right. To whom was the fairy queen dedicated? Very important question. To whom was the fairy queen dedicated? The fairy queen is dedicated to, right, the fairy queen is dedicated to Sir Walter Raleigh. I'll just check that answer. I need to check it, right? I'll check it and confirm it tomorrow. Okay, I doubt, right? Next question. Who said Spencer writ no language? Who said that Spencer writ no language? Okay, Ben Jonson said that Spencer writ no language. Spencer writ means Spencer wrote no language. Next question. Name Spencer's sonnet sequence. Edmund Spencer's sonnet sequence is Amoretti. Amoretti, right? Next question. Name the collection of translations made by William Painter that served as a storehouse from which the Elizabethan dramatists drew many of their plots. Very, very important question. The source of the plays of many of the Elizabethan dramatists, including Shakespeare. Okay. So what is the collection by William Painter? Okay, Painter, which which is of course the source of many of the plays of Elizabethan dramatists. The answer is Palace of Pleasure. Very important. Palace of Pleasure. Remember, PP. Palace of Pleasure is the source of many of the plays of the Elizabethan dramatists. Next question. Who is the main character in the Spanish tragedy? The main character in the Spanish tragedy is Hieronimo. Hieronimo spelling Hieronimo, who is the main character in the Spanish tragedy, Hieronimo. Next question. Whose mighty line did Ben Jonson speak of? Ben Jonson spoke of the mighty line of Marlowe. Marlowe's mighty line. Okay. Next question. Which is the first anthology of poems in English? Very important question. The first anthology of poems in English is Total's Miscellany. Total's Miscellany. Okay. Next question. The first comedy in English, Ralph Royster Doyster, was written by, we have studied it in reading drama. So the question once again, the first comedy in English, Ralph Royster Doyster, was written by, okay, Nicholas Udall, Nicholas Udall, Nicholas Udall. Next question. What is the total number of essays written by Bacon? Bacon wrote 58 essays. 58 essays. Okay. So what is the total number of essays written by Francis Bacon? 58. Next question. To whom is Spencer's sonnet sequence Amoretti dedicated to? Spencer's sonnet sequence Amoretti is dedicated to Elizabeth Boyle. Elizabeth Boyle. Okay. Elizabeth Boyle. Boyle. Next question. Okay. Name Bacon's work depicting an utopia. Name Francis Bacon's work depicting an utopia. That is the New Atlantis. Remember that. Very important question. The New Atlantis. In which poem does Spencer mourn the death of Philip Sidney? Okay. Spencer mourns the death of Philip Sidney in Astrophel. Astrophel. Very important. Astrophel. Okay. In which poem of Spencer, in which poem Spencer is mourning the death of Philip Sidney? It is in Astrophel. Next question. Who called Spencer the first salaried moralist? Very important question. I've seen this in many question paper, UGC previous question paper. Who called Spencer the first salaried moralist? Okay. W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats, called Spencer the first salaried moralist. Next question. Which is the first tragedy in English? The first tragedy in English is Gorboduc. Remember that. Gorboduc. Okay. Next question. Give the full title of the Spanish tragedy. Very important question. The full title of the Spanish tragedy is The Spanish Tragedy, or Hieronimo is Mad Again. The Spanish Tragedy, or Hieronimo is Mad Again. Next question. Who was the famous scholar who was appointed tutor to Princess Elizabeth? Okay. the name of the famous scholar who was tutor to Princess Elizabeth. Answer is Roger Ascham. Roger, Rogerasham. Next question. Okay, the posthumously published work of Roger Ascham is The Schoolmaster. Very important. Who wrote The Schoolmaster? Roger Ascham. And now the next question. What is Baconian theory? Baconian theory is the view that the plays of Shakespeare were written by Bacon. Very important. Okay, what is the Baconian theory? The Baconian theory is that the plays of Shakespeare were written by Bacon. Next question. Name the author of the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity. Of the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity or Polity. Okay, polity. Name the author of the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity. That is Richard Hooker. Richard, R-I-C-H-A-R-D. Hooker, H-O-O-K-E-R. Next question. What, according to Sidney, is the first nurse and the first light giver to ignorance? Okay, very important question. What, according to Philip Sidney, is the first nurse and first light giver to ignorance? And the answer is poetry. Poetry, according to Sidney, is the first nurse and first light giver to ignorance. Next question. Sidney mentions one of Spenser's poems in his apology poetry. Which poem? Okay, Sidney mentions the Spenser's the poem of Edmund Spenser in Apology for Poetry, and that title of Spenser is Shepherd's Calendar. Okay, Shepherd's Calendar. Next question. Who are the chief contributors to songs and sonnets? The chief contributors to songs and sonnets are Yacht and Surrey. Okay, Thomas Yacht and Earl of Surrey are the chief contributors to sonnets, songs and sonnets. Okay, now the next question. What is the alternative and better known title of Songs and Sonnets published in 1557? The better title of Songs and Sonnets is, okay, it is Totals Miscellany. Totals Miscellany. Next question. What is the pattern of Poulter's measure? The pattern of Poulter's measure is lines of alternate 12 and 14 syllables. Very important. Okay, so what is the pattern of Poulter's measure? Poulter's measure, remember, Poulter's measure is lines of alternate 12 and 14 syllables. 12 syllables followed by 14 syllables. Next question. How did the Poulter's measure get its nickname? Poulter's measure got the nickname from Poulter's practice of giving 14 eggs and the second as the second dozen. Okay, 14 eggs are given as the second dozen. Dozen 1 is 12 eggs, second dozen is 14. All right, that's very interesting. And now the next question. Who adopted the sonnet form to English? Very important question. Who adopted sonnet form to English? Okay, Sir Thomas Yacht adopted sonnet form to English. Next question. Who innovated on the Petrarchan sonnet and developed the Shakespearean form? Very important question. We have to study different types of sonnets. Okay, you have the Petrarchan sonnet, the Italian sonnet, the Spencerian sonnet, the Shakespearean sonnet, which is known as the English sonnet. And now, wonderful and very important question. Who innovated on the Petrarchan sonnet and developed the Shakespearean form? Answer is Earl of Surrey. Earl of Surrey is he innovated on the Petrarchan sonnet and developed the Shakespearean form. Okay, we continue. It's almost 1.5 hours since I began this lecture, and okay, I'll continue for some more time. If you find this lecture useful, please just like my channel and also ask your friends and students, UG students, to of course subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. We continue. Next question. Who is the person represented as Colin Clouds in Spenser's poem? Okay, the person represented as Colin Clouds in Spencer's poem is Spencer himself, the author himself. Okay, next question. Whom does Cynthia stand for in Spencer's Colin Clouds Come Home Again? Okay, Cynthia in Spencer's Colin Clouds Come Home Again stands for the Queen. Okay, the Queen. Next, Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth. Okay, next question. Who is intended as the shepherd of the sea in Spencer's Colin Clouds Come Home Again? Okay, Walter Raleigh is intended as the shepherd of the sea in Spencer's Colin Clouds Come Home Again. Next question. The general aim of the fairy queen is theological, philosophical, educational. The general aim of the fairy queen is, of course, educational. Next question. To whom is Amorety addressed? Amorety is addressed to Elizabeth Boyle. Next question. Who conferred on Spencer the title Poet's Poet? The title of Poet's Poet was conferred on Spencer by Charles Lamb. Very important. It was Charles Lamb who conferred the title Poet's Poet on Spencer, Edmund Spencer, Charles Lamb. Next question. What is the rhyme scheme of the Spencerian stanza? Very important question. You must be very familiar about the Spencerian stanza. Spencerian stanza is rhyming. Okay, A, B, B, C. Okay, 9-line stanza. A, B, C. Very important. Next question. Who said Spencer writ no language? That is Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson said Spencer writ no language. Next question. Who is the Raven in Volpone? The Raven in Volpone is Corbaccio. Okay, we have Volpone of Ben Jonson, the drama. Who is the Raven? Raven is a crow. Who is the Raven in Volpone? The character Volpone. Raven, the character is, of course, Corbaccio. 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 Next question. Who are the only two virtuous characters in Volpone? The only two virtuous characters in Volpone of Ben Jonson are okay. Who are the only two characters? Okay. Conario and Celia. Right. That is Conaria and Conario and Celia, Celia. All right. Now the next question. Okay. All right. Bonario and Celia. Next question. Who wrote of Webster? Webster was much possessed by death and saw the skull beneath the skin. Who wrote of Webster? Webster was much possessed by death and saw the skull beneath the skin. Okay. T.S. Eliot in Whispers of Immortality wrote of Webster, as Webster was much possessed by death and saw the skull beneath the skin. What is the theme of Philaster? The theme of Philaster is the private theme of love and the public theme of the question of Sicily's kingship. Next question. Who raised the slogan English matter in the English tongue for Englishmen? Okay, Roger Ascham. Roger Ascham. Next question. Where does blank verse first appear in English poetry? Very important question. Where does blank verse first appear in English poetry? Okay, blank verse first appears in Surrey's translation of Aeneid. It appears in Surrey's translation of Aeneid. Which is the first English tragedy in blank verse? The first English tragedy in blank verse is Gorboduc. Next question. Who is Sydney's Stella? Sydney's Stella is Penelope Devereux. Penelope, P-E-N-E-L-O-P-E, Devereux, D-E-V-E-R-E-U-X. Next question. Who said, with this key, Shakespeare unlocked his heart? Okay, with this key, Shakespeare unlocked his heart. Who said? William Wordsworth said, with this key, that is the sonnet, Shakespeare unlocked his heart with his sonnets, 154 sonnets of William Shakespeare. Okay. Next question. Whom did Sainsbury call the worst critic ever been? Answer is Thomas Rhymer. Thomas Rhymer is called the worst critic ever been. Next question. Who introduced the sonnet form into English? Thomas Yates. What is addressed as the certain knot of peace, the balm of woe, the poor man's wealth, and the prisoner's release in Sydney's sonnet cycle, Astrophel and Stella? Sleep is addressed as the knot of peace, the balm of woe, the poor man's wealth, and the prisoner's release. Next question. Which essays called his own essays dispersed meditations? Okay. So Bacon called his essays dispersed meditations. Very important. Francis Bacon called his essays dispersed meditations. Next question. Who said of Bacon he had an eye fixed on the pole star of truth and another on the political weathercock? Okay. Jekyll Hyde said that Bacon had an eye fixed on the pole star of truth and another on the political weathercock. Next question. In which incisive, polished, and epigrammatic prose Bacon stands close to dash Tacitus, the first century Roman historian? So Bacon's prose has been compared to the prose of Tacitus, the first century Roman historian. Very important. Next question. Who are the writers who are supposed to have made amendations to Dr. Faustus? Okay, amendations to Dr. Faustus was made by William Bride and Samuel Rowley. William Bride and Samuel Rowley made amendations to Dr. Faustus of Marlowe. Next question. Who exclaimed after reading Dr. Faustus, how grandly it has been planned? Okay, the French writer Goethe exclaimed that how grandly Dr. Faustus has been planned. Why can't Mephistopheles give Dr. Faustus a wife? Okay, Mephistopheles cannot give Dr. Faustus a wife because marriage is a holy sacrament or institution. Next question. Who tried to adopt to the stage the Petrarchan material and sonneteer's conceit? That is, of course, Bowman and Fletcher. Next question. Which Elizabethan drama is often called Pilgrim's Progress in Reverse? Dr. Faustus has been, the tragical history of Dr. Faustus of Marlowe has been called the, Pilgrim's Progress in Reverse. Next question. Whom does the name Gloriana stand in Spenser's Fairy Queen? Gloriana in Fairy Queen stands for Queen Elizabeth. What is the alternative title of Gorboduc? Gorboduc is also titled Ferex and Porrex. What is Bacon's Wing of Devils? Bacon's Wing of Devils is poetry. Very important. Wing of Devils is poetry. Next question. Whose marriage is celebrated in Spenser's Prothalamion? Okay, Prothalamion is a poem that celebrates the double wedding of Elizabeth and Catherine, the daughters of Earl of Worcester. I repeat, the double wedding, two weddings, the double wedding of Elizabeth and Catherine, the daughters of Earl of Worcester, Worcester, okay, are celebrated in the poem Prothalamion. That is before marriage song. Epithalamion, after marriage song. Okay. Now, what is the refrain of Prothalamion? What is the refrain, repetition of Prothalamion? Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. Wonderful. Okay. What is the refrain of Prothalamion? Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. Next question. The Elizabethan playwrights and pamphleteers Nash, Green, Lilly, Lodge, and others were known as university wits. Who are the university wits? University wits are graduates and postgraduates from universities of Oxford and Cambridge, and they are Elizabethan playwrights and pamphleteers Thomas Nash, Robert Greene,
Lily, Lodge, and of course Ben Jonson and all, who described himself as a bell ringer who is up first to call others to church. Okay, that was Francis Bacon. Bacon was the bell ringer who is up first to call others to church. Next question. What in his own words are Bacon's gifts as he himself records in his Magna Instauratio? That is, of course, desire to seek, patience to doubt, fondness to meditate, slowness to assert, readiness to reconsider, and carefulness to dispose are, in his own words, Bacon's gifts as he himself records in his Magna Instauratio. Next question. What is the tripartite structure of a classical essay? The structure of a classical essay is, okay, right, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Very important. Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Next question. Nuptial love maketh mankind. Friendly love perfect it, but wanton love corrupt and embasseth it. Whose words? Of course, Bacon in his essay of love. Francis Bacon of love. Next question. Alice Winterton in Lamb's essay Dream Children stands for Anne Simmons, whom Lamb loved but could not marry. Okay, once again, Alice Winterton in Lamb's essay Dream Children stands for Anne Simmons, whom Lamb loved but could not marry. Next question. Why is it often said no Marlowe, no Shakespeare? Very important question. Why is it said that no Marlowe, no Shakespeare? Okay, answer. Marlowe paved the way for Shakespeare by introducing the romantic tragedy and by his free use of blank verse. Next question. What is the alternative title of Ben Jonson's play, The Silent Woman? Subtitle or alternative title of Ben Jonson's Silent Woman. Silent Woman is also title or it is subtitle Epicone. Epicone, Epicone, Epicone. Next question. Who is supposed to be the original Sydney Stella? The original of Sydney Stella is, okay, Penelope Devereux. P-N-E-L-O-P, Penelope Devereux, D-V-E-R-E-U-X. Next question. Chaucer uses worthiness 5 times in the description of one of his characters in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. Who is this character? Very important question. Chaucer uses worthiness 5 times to describe one of his characters, and who is that character? The knight. Okay, the knight, father of the squire. The knight is being described worthiness, okay, 5 times. All right, and now with this I just conclude today's live streaming lecture session on national eligibility test coaching. So thanks a lot everybody for coming here. Thanks a lot for joining and listening. I request you to join every day, and please subscribe my channel. If you haven't subscribed it, please subscribe. Just like the videos in this channel, and you can just request your friends, especially your students, maybe student friends, right? Students, school students, UG students, and PG students, they will all benefit. Okay, so once again, work hard. Consistent, regular, hard work will take you to success. Okay, no pain, no gain. So hard work and just study everything systematically. Prepare your own short notes and material for both papers, paper 1 general paper and paper 2, of course, your main subject, and be a winner, be a topper. May God bless you. Thanks once again for joining. Good night, everybody.